In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful, good day, dear friends. Wherever you are, I hope you are happy and healthy. I'm here with another tutorial on 3D Esta software. As you know, 3D Esta has recently added some very new and exciting updates to its software, which are extremely practical and give us much more flexibility when working with 3D models and panoramic images, as well as connecting them together. These updates add a truly special real virtual reality effect to our project, and with the help of these updates, we can now very easily make any changes we want to our 3D models, add the options we need, and upload them to the web. Previously, it was a difficult task and there were only a few software options available for making changes to a 3D model and uploading it to the web in a way that your customers and other people could easily load and view it. One of the software options, besides 3D seconds max, that you could previously use for this purpose was Blender. However, it could only upload the 3D model to the web, and even then the software itself required an additional plugin that had to be installed. With its help, we could upload the 3D model online, but we didn't know how to add panorama images to it. Well, fortunately today 3D seconds max has provided us with these features. But today we want to go over a new feature that the software has recently introduced in its latest update. Our topic is the first-person view. In fact, first-person view means that your visitor, the person viewing your virtual tour, can virtually walk inside your 3D model with the camera positioned at the eye level of that person, allowing them to look around in any direction. Now, if they have a VR headset, they can use it. Or if not, they can easily look around using a keyboard and mouse. Just like in a 3D virtual game you may have experienced before, you can now simulate this in 3D Esta. You can easily import your 3D models, apply your desired settings, and create a really impressive and engaging virtual reality experience. Alright, I won't spend any more time on the introduction, and we'll move on to the tutorial. We open the 3D Esta software, and here you start a new project. On this page that opens, go to the Import 3D Model section, and here you need to upload your 3D model. There are three options available here: orbital, flyover, and first person. Today we want to talk about the first person view. In fact, first person view is the latest update that this software has introduced. God willing, in the next tutorials I will explain flyover and orbital to you one by one as well. But today we're going to focus on importing a 3D model and using it in the 3D Esta software in first-person view mode. So I select this and I import my 3D model, which is actually in GLB format. The 3D Esta software currently supports two formats. One is GLB and the other is glTF. And God willing, in future tutorials I'll also explain the differences between these two formats, which one is better and which is more suitable for easier loading on websites, especially on slower internet connections. I won't cover that today. Alright, I'm going to import the 3D model. Please note, my friends, along with the tutorial video I provide, I'll also include a notepad file where you can find the link to the website from which you can download these 3D models. The most well-known website for this purpose is sketchfab.com, where you can visit and browse a variety of different 3D models. You can download them as well. The models that have a download icon like this can be downloaded for free, and there are other models available for purchase on this website. I will include a link in the description file that you download along with the video. So after you open the 3D model, you'll notice that the model actually has an odd appearance and isn't quite suitable. So how can we fix this? At the top right, you'll see an icon of a little person. If you click on it once, it will change and actually show the perspective image of a building. Basically, it shows that in this mode you can handle the model more easily. If it's in this mode, it means you're actually in first-person view mode and you don't have much control over the whole model. Now, when you want to precisely adjust the overall model and carefully set its exact position, you should then switch to the comprehensive overview mode, and if you gently roll out with your mouse wheel, you can effectively view the entire model from the outside, just like this. Well, with the right click of the mouse, you can move the model and its surroundings. and with a left click you can rotate it like this. Alright, I'll roll in again and enter the model. So now that I've entered, from here on I can use the first person view to move around and explore inside the model. But let me move the model over here a bit. Yes, now I can use the first person view and move inside the model like this. So how does moving inside the model work? With which options and how you can perform this movement? Look, using the W, A, S, D keys, you can move forward with W. With S, you move backward, just like in games, like computer games, which I'm sure you've experienced. With D, you move to the right, and with A to the left, you move left with the A key. If you want to adjust the height of this viewer or the camera height so that it is at a normal level, with the Q and E keys on the keyboard, you can change the height. With Q, it goes down. The camera height or the height of that person or the first person view, and with E, the height goes up. Alright, I'll set this at a reasonable height and move on to explain the rest of the options to you. In the settings section, we don't have any special configurations. If you've watched the comprehensive tutorial on creating a virtual tour, the settings here are just like the settings for panorama images. So let's go to the camera settings section. In this section, the first thing you need to set is actually the initial view that the viewer sees when your 3D model loads. What is the first view that person sees on the website? You need to set that here. With the help of this option, set view as initial point. So you can set your initial view. Below this set view as initial point option, there's another option called FOV, which actually determines your field of view. If you want to see more space in this view, you can increase the field of view. This way, the viewer can see more areas. I move forward a bit and set the field of view to the maximum so that my initial view looks like this. After setting the view, I click on the set view as initial point option. After that, I go into the advanced options section. In the advanced options, you have several choices. You can adjust the rotation speed and transit speed here. With this option, you can increase or decrease the rotation speed. Right now, it's set to 1. I can set it to 90 or even up to 800, which will make the rotation speed a bit different. Also, regarding the transit speed, when you move with W, the speed might be a bit too high. I'm going to adjust this. I'll set it to 0.7 to reduce the speed a bit. So since this space is small, it will be easier to control. The next option is collision detection. Basically, collision means impact, and as you can see, this option is checked. When it's checked, it means the software can detect collisions in this mode. Now watch as I move and make the camera collide with this column. As you can see, the camera, look, it hit the column and stopped. So if you were to uncheck the collision option, the camera would then not collide with the physical column. It would simply just pass directly through it without any obstruction whatsoever. Did you know this? So in this way, you can choose to enable or disable collision detection as you see fit. I prefer to keep it enabled. The next option is double click to move. If you enable this option, whenever you double click in your 3D model, your character will jump, move, and be transported to the point where you click. I'll go back to where I was. Like this. Okay, the next option is keep height. If this option is checked, it actually keeps the height constant. Look, I've set this height for the camera. If this option is checked, when the character is going up the stairs, pay attention, you'll see the sensation of going up the stairs. It exists. Look, when going down, you can see it steps down one by one, and in fact the height decreases step by step. But if I disable this keep height option, look, the character goes into the stairs and only stops at the next spot, so then the user has to adjust the height manually using the E and Q keys. This isn't ideal for me, so I try to keep the keep height option enabled so that the character can go up and down the stairs properly. After I enable this option, another option becomes available for me, which is the maximum step height. This determines from what height the character can step up or whether it can step up any height. For example, should the character be able to climb on top of this box when it reaches it or not? Or should it only be able to step up from a certain height? Look, right now the default is set to 25 centimeters. Okay, so with the 25 centimeter setting, when I approach this box, the user or viewer can no longer climb up to see what's on top. When they reach the box, they get stuck. Notice here they get stuck and can't climb up. But if I now set this, for example, to 2 meters and go toward the box, notice that it climbs on top of it, and when I come back, it comes down like this. You notice that, right? So I try to set this to around 25 centimeters or maybe 15 centimeters so that it can only climb these small steps in my model. Shall we test these steps to see if it can climb them? Yes. Well, the next options aren't very important and you don't need to work with them for now. In fact, in this 3D model, they don't have any use in this situation. It shows the camera's limitations. Now, let's go and take a look at it like this. See, in the external environment, this software can set some limitations for your camera so it doesn't go farther than that, meaning it won't show the model from farther away, which we don't need to deal with here. So if the clipping limit near far plane automatically option is enabled, it will automatically calculate these purple planes you saw here. If it's not enabled, you'll have to set them manually. Well, the model disappeared. When you lose track of a model, you need to rotate a bit. Right now the model is down here until you can find it. I'll bring it up here. Now we can increase the render speed so it moves faster. In this particular way, we also absolutely need to meticulously remove all potential collisions so that it can smoothly and effortlessly enter. Yeah, so once we successfully enter the intricate model, I significantly increase the operational speed a great deal. Consequently, it regrettably gets completely out of my immediate control. This way, we can easily publish this model. For now, the other options here aren't really useful, although you can use hotspots and add various other features or links to this model. If you've watched the previous tutorials, if you watched the comprehensive tutorial on creating virtual tours, you probably already know the rest, so there's no need for me to mention it here. The other options are related to panorama, environment, light, and animation. These aren't particularly useful here. Of course, if your 3D model has animation, then the animation option can be useful here. But since my current model doesn't have any animation, I won't go into that. There's just one option in the object section. You see, in this model, there are different objects. For example, this chest is an object itself. And when you select it, you can see its object is highlighted. Here, you can also enable or disable the collision feature. For example, you can choose to let it pass through this pillar, but not through that one, or not through this wall, but allow it to pass through this chest. You can control each of these individually here for your viewer. If I enable or disable the collision here, you can also apply these collision settings right here to the 3D model. Alright, let me see if I have another model that has animation. Let me also explain the animation tab to you. I'll delete this model. I'm going to import another model. I think this model had a small animation. Let's check and see what it's like. Alright. So if you pay attention to this part, you'll notice that my model did have an animation. Like this, the wind blows and the curtain moves. And you can see this butterfly coming and landing on this picture frame. And in this way you can control it. The settings available to you here are that in fact autoplay lets this animation play automatically, and play as loop means it will keep repeating. Show control. While it's playing, you can see with the slider at which stage it is, and with play, pause on click, you can play or pause it by clicking. I'll go ahead and place this view, and now let's preview it to see how our animation plays. As you can see, our animation starts playing right from the beginning, and I can see it. I can precisely control at which specific part of the animation it actually plays. But I just don't see the play pause button. Let's go back into the software. Well, he was supposed to play and pause with each click, but as you can see, it's not working here. This is probably one of the software's bugs, which will definitely be fixed soon. This is the latest update of the software. It's a first-person view, and gradually its bugs and issues will be resolved. As you saw, this feature gives us a lot of exciting and new capabilities, especially in designing virtual exhibitions. You can easily use these models and import a 3D exhibition model in such a way that you can actually hang pictures on the walls, allowing a person to virtually walk through the exhibition and view the images, something that wasn't possible before. Previously, you could only place 360-degree photos one after another, so the viewer would jump from one photo to the next. But here, as you can see, it moves very smoothly and easily. The viewer is inside the 3D model, and there are some really fascinating features. Excellent. Thank you for your attention. God willing, I will be at your service again with more tutorials in the future. Take care and goodbye.